This is a Brooklyn-bound 2 express train. The next stop is Fulton Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Hi everyone, welcome to In the House. My name is Eliana La Casa. My guest today is Jill Valentine. She is the founder of Stage 773. She is also founder and producer of Chicago Women's Funny Festival, and she's also one of the producers of Sketch Fest here in Chicago. Please welcome Jill Valentine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to have you here because I reached out to you when I submitted for the Chicago Women's Funny Festival, and here's a little story. I submitted a video both in English and Spanish. It was basically a strategy. I knew I had like some credits by bringing a video that said Comedy Central, but that's in Spanish. So I said, I'm gonna submit both just to get the seal of approval. And then you answered back saying like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised. Tell me, what was your thought?
Well, I was like, does she want to do stand-up in English or does she want to do it in Spanish? And then you said, well, I mean, I'm more comfortable in Spanish, but I'll do it. I understand that might be weird, so I'll do it in English too. And then I was like, that's actually pretty cool, because I also got some other submissions where women were speaking Spanish. And so that's what came to be the first ever Spanish-speaking slot at the Women's Fest, which, you know, me and the other producer, the other founder producer, Liz MacArthur, we were thinking about just how hard comedy already is, and then to do it in your second language, like, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been doing stand-up for a while now, and I did not come even close to understanding how hard it was going to be writing fully in English. Like, I've been sucking at writing material in English. I thought I would eventually get to it, and I still fail every single time that I try.
No, I don't.
So I'm still writing in Spanish and then translating to English. My brain's still wired that.
My husband's from Argentina, and so that also, obviously, I get that because, you know, I've been there and I love it, and I love his family, and I love, I love visiting and everything. But my husband always says I'm so much funnier in Spanish. he always says that.
He probably is.
But I think he's hilarious in English. But also, you know, he's around comedians now more and more because all the people I run with are comedians and stuff. And, you know, so he's always around. But I think he gets funnier as he's been here. You know, he just gets, you know, more funny. But he always says that. I'm funnier in Spanish.
It was such a great experience. Like, I was surprised at first when I came here and there were practically no Spanish-speaking shows. And then this lot came by and it got so much press coverage.
So much press.
It was incredible. And the show went great, and all the other teams were great, and everyone was like so happy to be doing a full Spanish show. So again, thank you for giving us the opportunity to do that. Right now you're in the process of receiving, you finished getting submissions for the Sketch Fest.
Yes, so we're done taking submissions. So my job now is to watch hundreds of hours of comedy on YouTube, pretty much.
Yeah, tell us about that, because it doesn't sound like a fun job at all.
You know, that's what I think is funny. People are like, that's awesome, you get to do that. But it's also like, you know, one of the things I have to say is whenever you're submitting to another festival, make sure the picture is clear. You know, it's not upside down. I've had pictures that are sideways and I'm like looking at them sideways. The microphone's close, because some of that is half the battle of just understanding what's happening, you know, seeing what's happening on stage and listening and having good sound, you know.
Yeah.
But when you get a good one, you know it. And it hits you, and it's, you know, comedy will translate. It will translate if it's good, even if it's, you know, in the back of a room. And
how, let's say you sit down and start watching videos. How long does it have to go before you say, like, I'm too tired to even judge this?
Yes, that happens a lot. Actually, in between, I stop because I feel like these people submitted, they paid a submission fee, they put this together, and I owe it to them to give them all of my attention. So in the middle of it, I do stop, and I do work on other things. I'll eat lunch, I'll watch, another YouTube video of something, blah, blah, blah. Like just something to pull myself out. Otherwise, your eyes can go dead. And
yeah, it's impossible. Like one of the things that I'm enjoying the most here in Chicago is that I finally get to enjoy the shows where I perform, because not the back from home. There's amazing talent in Argentina. Like I perform with amazing colleagues, but the truth is we see each other every day, so we all know each other's routines. So in a way, you're just sitting there for 45 minutes listening to the same jokes over and over again, and it kind of gets boring.
Old, yeah.
And now, when someone invites me to a show, I think I enjoy myself more watching other people than I even do performing. It's like, yeah, I get to see a great show for free.
And there's so much. That's the thing. There's so much. Like any night of the week, any time of the day, you can probably catch a comedy show.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, the amount of comedians here in Chicago.
It's crazy. Were you originally born here?
So I'm from the south side of Chicago, a place called Oak Lawn. And I was lucky enough to know that I was in the right place, born in the right place.
That's amazing.
Pretty much. Yeah, so I took classes even in high school at Second City. Yeah, I was lucky enough to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then I knew that's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to, I wanted to be in the arts. And lucky enough, I, went to Second City and IO, and, now we're in this beautiful building, and it's a part of my life, which I'm lucky.
Because I believe you started as a performer, and you eventually moved also into, you're still a performer.
Yes.
You have an amazing group that I've seen, and it's incredibly funny. But you also moved to producing, and it's not only producing, because it's also managing a building, which is a whole other side to the business.
Yes.
When did you discover that you either liked that or were good at it, or?
I think it was, so I've been with the company for about 15 years, but performing with the company for almost 20 years. So I met a group of people that I loved running with, and we were itinerant, so we were kind of jumping from home to home, and we decided we wanted a place like a utopia of the arts where we could support like-minded artists and help non-for-profit theater. And no, we had no idea what we were getting into. And, sometimes we say we're sitting in the dumbest mistake we ever made, or the best mistake we ever made, But
it sounds like the story of every company that
Yes.
starts a theater building.
Right, exactly. So, so we just kind of fell into it, and now it's not only like comedy, because that's how I started, but there's we have 4 theaters inside this building that cater to all different non-for-profits throughout Chicago. So there's, all different companies, arts companies that work in the building. So it's cool to support the building in that way, but then also the comedy is kind of like the roots of how we started and how we got the building and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's cool to have a day job, in a theater.
Yeah, it's amazing. And are you happy that you get to make the rules?
Well, what's so funny is when you start this, you're just thinking about all the fun stuff, and you get to be in the theaters, and you don't think about insurance, or if someone breaks their ankle on a stage, or all the other stuff that comes with running a business, So there's really positive things, and then there's things that are super annoying that you never thought you'd be dealing with. But I can still come to work in my pajamas if I wanted to. That's what's cool about it,
That's always amazing.
Right? I think what my next goal would be is to write a musical.
Write a musical. What kind of musical?
Probably a comedy parody musical.
For live?
Yeah.
Or?
Live. I'm live, that's the thing. I've done commercial auditions, I've done on camera stuff. It's fine, It's fun.
Yeah.
But there's something about live theater, you know?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there's just something about having that connection with the audience, and it changes every night because the audience changes. And
yeah. I only consider like taping stuff to like, okay, this is done, let's tape it, put it in like...
So we have it.
We have it, archive, or we can sell it, whatever, but this is not the real product. This is This is just like a photocopy of the product.
Exactly.
Like, you can have it at home if you want.
Yes, exactly. Because even as I'm watching these shows on video for the festival, if I was sitting in the audience, it would be so different than me watching it on the video, you know?
And when you're on the other side and you're recording a set for submitting to a festival or whatever, it's like you're looking for, like, if you do a set and you are in, I don't know, you feel like it's a 8 out of 10, don't use that tape, because on tape it will be a 6.
Exactly.
So you need to record it 100 times until you get to 12, so that when it translates to tape, you get a 10.
Exactly.
A 10 out of your own feeling of what a 10 is. I'm not saying any like producer standard. Like you feel like you did your 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is so crazy. Do you have any? I'm. This is so fun for me because I know how exhausting it is, like working with artists and people, and artists not always are the best people to I don't know, the business part of things, or even submissions, like you said, they send videos that are backwards, that upside down. What's other stuff that, like, do you get people like where it says name and last name, they put it backwards, for example, and you wonder, like, are you stupid, or like, should I strangle you, or like?
No, you know what? The one thing that's hard for that I'm like is when you get a video of someone in their living room and like talking to me on the camera, saying like, "Hello, producer," and like talking, and it's like, just because there are places that you can film your stuff, like there's something in our building on Tuesdays called Sketch Test, and it's literally where you can go in and test something out in front of a nice room of people. And so sometimes I find that like really odd.
Yeah.
When it's like, we're talking, you know, like they're just talking to me about their submission, where I should be looking at their submission, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There's some funny ones.
What are the 10, like, top 3 artist scenes that you cannot take anymore in this life, like you're tired of?
Oh, the scenes? You know what's weird is that it changes with what's happening around the time. So like when we first started getting automated phone calls, you know, like when people started, everyone would do the automation. So it'd be like, press 1 for blah, blah, blah. And then they press 1, and then it's like, you've pressed 6, you know, and so like everyone had those scenes. It was like everyone had those scenes. Getting naked, you know, I just feel like if you're gonna like get naked, like really have a reason to get naked, you know?
Yeah.
And then
it's not funny itself.
Well, I feel like, oh God, they're naked. And now I'm not listening to anything that's going on, but I'm just looking at the naked human body. You know, I'm just like, so I feel like have a real good reason. And then, you know, I'm just, anything that's ignorant, you know what I mean? Like anything that's ignorant or...
That you can tell they're talking about something they really don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that, but also like offensive. You know, it's like it's just not the time anymore. Do better. That's what I always think. Just do better.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
We're just smarter. We're just like we're better than that.
Yeah, and like when you have to choose out of 100, there's gonna be somewhere who's smarter and like does it in a better way than you. So be smart about what you choose to talk about and how you choose to talk about. So you've been in Chicago for a long time. How do you see the scene right now as far as like women performing and producing and in theater?
So I've been in the scene for about 20 years. So when I first started, I was lucky enough to see a big evolution. When I started at Second City, you know, we were lucky to see one girl on a team at a time. and the teachers were all men, and then after time kind of kept rolling, it was super cool to see like more and more women were in the classes, more and more women were teaching the classes, more and more women were running circles around the guys in the classes, which I thought was, not only are we there, but we're killing it too.
Yeah.
And then, as we saw the scene evolve, that's when we decided it was time for the Chicago Women's Funny Festival, that we could have our own fest. And so like a girlfriend of mine, Liz MacArthur, who's the co-producer, we were like, all right, we're going to do this. Let's see, let's put it out there and see what people say. Like, do we think this is a good idea? And then like people responded crazy. They were like, I want to be in it. I want to help. I want to push it. What can I do? What can I do? And we were like, okay, we're doing it, And it was cool because it's changed every year. And it kind of changes depending on what's going on in the different art forms, because this one has stand-up, sketch, we have burlesque, we have solo.
Has it always been a mash of?
Yeah, it's always been a mishmash. But we learned over the years, because at first we were like, well, maybe we'll put a stand-up with this and a sketch group with it, and it doesn't work. Because art forms, for some reason, they kind of need to stay within their own art form. Because once you start mushing them a little, it's a little awkward.
I do believe that probably there's like this language thing that like it takes you, like even from being on the street talking to your friends, like getting into a play, like it takes like 5 to 10 minutes to be like, oh, I'm in a play.
Got it.
Until you forget that you're a person in a theater.
Yes.
Like on a Saturday, and you're like, oh, this is Shakespeare. Okay.
Yes.
We're like, okay. So I believe it's the same with stand-up or improv or whatever. So I bet that there's like a 5-10 minute adjustment.
There is.
Period. And in an hour slot, if you have to do that 3 or 4 times, it's
awkward. Yeah. So keeping the art forms together, it's the way to do it. But it's also fun when you can, throw some like very like-minded, like they're kind of the same, but in a totally different way, and put those in a group together. So it's fun to do that, because then you see people working with each other, and also like people they didn't know, and they're meeting and kind of collaborating too, which is fun.
Yeah, and also there is stand-up in this room, but there's improv next door and sketch in the other door. So it's like, even if you're just a stand-up performer, you can come here and hang with the improvisers.
Right.
Check out a whatever thing.
Yeah, because it is weird that stand-ups don't really hang out with sketch comedians.
No, we don't.
And sketch, do you know what I mean? Like there's no cross friendships there.
No.
And I don't know why, because we're all kind of doing the same thing in a different way.
I just believe we work in different places.
Yeah,
like,
true.
For you, the office is theater. You need a stage, and you need like a room to rehearse. So that probably takes you to some venues, and we just need a mic, and we usually perform at bars.
Yeah.
So our training center is usually a bar, very early afternoon.
Right.
So I like, probably it's just that we don't hang out at the same places. So
yeah,
we might only run into each other at a festival.
Right, and that's why I thought it was super cool to kind of put us all in one building to hang out and talk. And it's fun when people get drunk and say yes to a project that scares the shit out of them, and the next day they're like, what did I do? And a lot of projects are born from these things, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, have you seen like people evolve from like doing a very small like set here to like doing something?
Oh yeah, and you see people like just hanging out, and they're like, we should do something, and then they commit to and it's over a conversation at the bar, and then you see them next year at the festival applying and being in it. Yeah, it's cool.
It's amazing the world of festivals, which I wasn't aware of. I like coming here, I didn't know that there was a festival world, and then I got here and people were like posting about submissions, and I was like, oh, so you need to submit to all this stuff, and there's, at least in stand-up, there's like 5 or 6 a month, so people are like,
you have to pick and choose,
and like one is in Arizona and the other one is in, I don't know,
Michigan, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, they're everywhere. Almost every state has one. And when we started Sketchfest, which will be in year 19 this year, so it's been a lot of years, it was us and another fest in Chicago. And now there's probably like 30.
Yeah. I don't even know all the ones in Chicago. Like, there's so many.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even hear.
Yeah, right. And even like nationally, like it was us and maybe 3 or 4 more. Maybe 3. And we helped open a couple of them, you know.
Crazy.
But there was, you know, so it was such a different ball game. You know, now people have so many options.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're choosy about their options because, you know, they want to travel and see a different, you know, because like Toronto's really big right now in comedy. Their sketch comedy scene is blowing up. Seattle is blowing up. New York's always been blowing up, you know. So there's different places. But Toronto's kind of like, they're killing it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah, you should get hit there.
Like, they might have an easier visa process. You never know.
Right. I don't know their stand-up scene, but their sketch scene.
It's great.
Toronto, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I wonder, like, I'm still like trying to like make sense of the whole scene and like the career prospect of comics who live here. What would you say, like, is the what is the spirit behind a festival? What's the purpose of festivals? What's the gain from festivals?
Festivals are a few things. Just from the base root of it, it's to put everyone in the same place at the same time, to support, to celebrate, to see each other's work. But it's also a place to be seen. So we get a ton of agents, casting agents, producers, and that sort of thing, because they can see a ton of people in one place. And so for them, it's really easy to scout. As far as like getting work, I know people have gotten signed by agents through our fests. I don't know if that, you know, in turn got them work, but what's cool about it is like the people that kind of popped, you know, the people that are getting fame and that sort of thing, they still come back and give their time. And, you know, if they're did an exploding whatever water all over the stage, they're wiping up that water after the scene with our volunteers, you know, because they were there. They've been there, you know. And even though they're killing it out in Hollywood, you know, they're kneeling on the ground and wiping up the water, you know. So these are good people. And, you know, very Chicago, you know.
Very Chicago.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot of people who are, well, mostly stand-up comics, who are in Chicago for a while because this is the greatest like development city, the city you come and work on your craft. And eventually, most people move on to New York or LA to work as writers or to be casted in whatever other project there is. But there's also people who stay here. How did you decide to stay here?
Well, mine was a little bit easier, although, you know, I've thought about LA, I've thought about New York, and I think everyone does, but I think what's important when people are going through the journey is obviously people come to Chicago because we are so saturated in the comedy scene. We have some of the oldest and best, most seasoned teachers and curriculum, and then people are just doing it and honing it, you know. And we call them transplants from all over, and obviously like, you're one of them, you know.
I'm a transplant.
Yeah, you came here for 6 months. Yeah, the people come here to study comedy.
Yeah,
and then generally when they go to the coast, the people that see Chicago on their resume, they're like, these are the workhorses. These are the people that get the job done. They put their head down and they do the work.
Yeah.
So it's always a positive thing. But the main reason I stayed here is because my family's here. So I'm lucky enough. And to me, and I know this is, you know, my opinion, but to me, it's one of the best cities in the world. Like, you know, I love many different cities, but to live, you know, we have the Midwest heart, you know, we have the comedy scene, which is what, you know, is my heart. We have some of the best food, you know, architecture, like we just have and we have a beautiful art scene, and I have a beautiful mother that lives 40 minutes south, you know. So,
not many Americans can say that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, my the only disadvantage of Chicago is the winter.
Oh, it's yes.
too long, too
It's
hard.
super long. Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm gonna be gone. Like,
I'll be gone for a little bit.
are you? Yeah.
Well, because I'll be in Argentina.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing.
Right. But Gus and I, because I am married to an Argentinian, we go to Argentina almost every November, like through like end of November, middle December, just to get away.
For a while.
Yeah, because then I come back and it's Sketchfest. And so to me, it's like, ooh, Halloween, ooh, Argentina, ooh, Sketchfest. And then we always do like a quick beach vacation after Sketchfest and we're back to spring.
Okay,
So
so
to
you
me,
get a break.
we have a plan, you know, we make
Amazing.
it, but my husband loves the seasons too, you know, but he loves winter. I'm not a huge
Does
fan.
he?
He does,
Crazy.
yeah.
To me, this is winter today.
Yeah, it is.
Estamos a 9 grados. I don't know how much it is
9
Fahrenheit
grados.
today.
It's probably 50s.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
53?
already wearing leggings under my pants.
Are you really?
Yes.
Oh, you have no idea.
I cannot like handle anything.
When did you
harder
get
than
here?
this.
What month was it?
I arrived here May 1st, and it was.
Oh, so you haven't even touched anything.
No, I arrived here, and it was the last.
Snow?
No, not even
Frost?
Frost.
Okay.
Last frost.
Oh, so you haven't even.
And still,
Oh
for the
my
first 2
gosh.
months, I was like, "This is too cold.
Oh my gosh.
Why is it so windy? And why is it raining? And
It's-
when is summer coming?"
Oh, it's Sketchfest. What's crazy is we have 1,000 performers performing in this building for the 2 weeks in January, but it's also during January. And so all these people come from LA and all over the world, and they're like coming in January, and sometimes it's 10 below, and they're like, they don't even know what having a coat is.
They
you know,
probably don't have the right clothes for that.
they
weather.
don't, and sometimes their just faces like they can't even describe the cold because it's so.
Oh my
And
God.
to me, it takes me like maybe a good month to go,
Okay.
all right, I'm used to it. Like, but my body's got to get back used to it. But I've lived here my whole life, you know, so.
Yeah, I'm always the person in the summer. In the summer here, everything has AC, and it's way too cool for me. I'm always the
Yes.
person with a scarf
In the air condition.
in the restaurant.
Are
I'm
you?
that person.
I'm pretty much like you. I'm pretty much like you. Yeah.
I'd like to know, like you're with Gus. He's Argentine. What are some of the? I don't know what the word is. What
Cultural differences?
Yes.
Okay, there's one that he hates that Americans do, and we call it like the sneak, but it's pretty much like when you're hanging out and then someone just leaves and like they don't say goodbye. Where like in Argentina, you say goodbye to every single person in the room.
Yes.
Where Gus will be like, oh, where did X go? Where did that person go? And I'm like, oh, they left. He's like, he can't even handle that. Like he thinks it's the rudest thing ever.
Yes.
But we're just like, oh, we don't want to make a big deal. I'm just going to slip out, and I'll see you guys later,
Yes.
kind of thing. So, yeah, right. So there's things like that.
Oh, my personal least favorite
What?
is people being so afraid of confrontation that instead of saying, like, let's say you couldn't make it today.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, sorry, I can't make it, being like, well, let me see, I'll let you know, I will check my schedule, and I ask you again, and I ask you again, and you never give me no for an answer, and
I think that's personality. I don't know if that's
Oh,
cultural
really?
because that would annoy the shit out of me.
it's like, yours a yes or no. Like,
Right.
what?
Don't waste my time.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But maybe I just had the wrong experience with the wrong people.
Maybe because I think that is because there's direct people and there's
Yes.
people that aren't.
I've also been hanging with a lot of 23, 4, 5, and that's
That might
probably
be that. Yeah, that might be that more.
They're so afraid of saying like, I don't have the time this week.
Right.
Which is like,
That's
not
okay.
even,
That's not confrontation.
yeah.
Right.
Like, it's okay, we'll see each other next week or whenever you
Right.
can.
There's another one where I learned this because Gus had to tell me, but when people are sitting down at dinner and I start cleaning plates, like picking up plates, that's kind of like, oh, do you not want me to eat anymore? Like, just leave it until they're done and off away from the table, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, he just said, leave people be for a minute, like,
Yes.
because Americans are fast with food, like,
Yes.
I think.
Until the last crumble has
Exactly.
been eaten, You don't take the dishes.
Exactly.
Yes, because someone might want a little more piece of bread.
Yes.
And if you take the plates, it's like, oh,
Yes.
now I can't eat bread anymore.
Yes. Yeah, so that's something that I'm glad I'm reminding myself of that because I'll be there soon. And it's just like a habit. It's just it's so different.
Yes, cleaning up. Cleaning up.
And the other thing that kills me in Argentina is how long, it takes to move through a restaurant. Because if you want the bill, it's almost like you have to
Oh, yeah, the service
you have
is
to-
so bad.
the service. And Gus laughs because he's like, well, I'm home, because when the service but they take forever.
Oh, you sit down and you have to look for the waiter. When you finally witness where the waiter is,
Yes.
you have to call them. When they come back, you have to ask for the menu. Then they bring the menu.
Yes.
If you have any questions for the menu, you have to find him again.
Yes.
And then you ask the question, and the answer is probably no.
Right.
It's can I get this Elvis burger without onions?
No.
But it's just the
But you're
same
waiting.
burger without the onions. You just have
Yeah,
to
we
not
don't do
put-
that. We don't do that, yeah.
I can bring the burger and you take out the onions. Okay. And they're leaving and it's wait, the drinks. I
Yes.
want
Oh, yes.
Yes. That's probably why people tip so poorly in Argentina. They deserve it. I had to get used to here, tipping
20%.
20% mandatory or more. In Argentina, I live between 10 and
10,
20.
yeah.
And I'm the most abundant of my friends. I'm only probably the one who is we should leave 15 or
Yeah.
whatever. And people are like, oh, really? And it's well, we had a good service today.
Right.
Let's
Right.
make it count.
Yes. Yes. My husband, he's a huge tipper. He's so generous. So, but in Argentina, I don't know because he normally does the bill because I don't know what I'm doing. So, but, yeah, he's generous here to the point where I'm like, you're too generous. What are you doing? They just gave us an ice cream cone. You just gave him $6.
Yes, that happens.
Yeah.
Crazy. And also people sometimes here tip when they feel that they've put the waiter at discomfort.
Oh,
I've seen that
yes.
happen.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's I'm sorry, I'm asking you too many whatever, and then they guilt tip
guilt
their
tip.
way out of the restaurant.
I feel better about it.
Yeah. Also, I've seen in Argentina, the service is so bad that I've been at situations where I've been the worst customer because you are led to be
right, because you have to be aggressive or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been at places where I just don't leave a tip or I burst out of place or even I don't have a patience anymore to the point where I arrive at a restaurant. No, if there's no one seating people, I just grab a seat, whichever I like.
Yeah.
I get seated, look around, no one's listening. I just go to the bar. Can I get a menu?
Yeah.
Almost calling out that there's no one bringing
There's no
menus.
Gus and I one time he was working from Argentina and we were going, oh, we'll go on your lunch break. It did not happen. There was no way we could eat a meal in 45 minutes. There's just no way.
No, that's a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Yes. Yes. Yeah, but no, I think those are the big ones. Service is huge. Yeah, but I mean,
Is there something that you like better Argentine style than American style?
do you know it's such a weird thing that I'm going to say? I had the best Chinese food I've ever had in my life in Argentina.
It's you know how you have Mexican American food?
Yeah.
I do believe we have a Chinese Argentine.
Oh my God.
Which is its own thing. It's not Chinese anymore.
It is the best Chinese food. It blew my mind. I was just oh my gosh. No, I mean, you guys have amazing food. I'm lucky enough to be with Argentinians that know where to go, what to eat, and how to cook.
Yes.
So I'm lucky in that way.
Yeah.
But I love Chicago food, so whenever we come back, we're at least 10 pounds heavier because we eat, we do walk a lot in that, but
Yes.
we eat because we want to eat all the stuff we miss,
Yeah.
and we feel we deserve it.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
it's lunch, and then it's because we actually have 4
Merienda.
meals. We have merienda,
I know.
which that's your dinner. We have merienda and then dinner.
Yes.
So you might have like a very big lunch, and then you have pastries at merienda,
Oh my God.
or a coffee with whatever, and then dinner and ice cream and
It's crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, but I can't wait.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there waiting for you.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. We had some technical issues, but we sorted through it. So thank you again for your patience. Thank you everyone who is listening to this. I encourage everyone to go online on stage 773 and make a donation. This is a great stage and it caters to a lot of people, and there's a lot of festivals happening here, so it's a great place to support. And thank you very much for listening. I will see you again next week.